Hi, this is Miss Arnst, and this is my introduction to our school-wide art project for the time that we are out of school, the school building. So I wanted to give you a sense of where this came from. On Thursday, as everybody was leaving, and we found out that we would be out of school longer than the 2 weeks that we had initially thought, my my ideas about what we could do for my art classes started to kind of spin because I didn't know what materials students would have at home to work with. I knew that I had sent home uh, um, enough for those 2 weeks, but I didn't know what we were going to do after that. So I started to cast around for what kind of materials would everybody have access to, and nature, what's outside our doors is what we all have access to. And so as soon as I came up with that thought, there was one artist who I fell upon and thought, oh my gosh, I have always wanted to do something with this artist, and this is the moment for it. So that artist is an English artist named Andy Goldsworthy. Andy Goldsworthy. He's English and he lives in Scotland now. And there was an absolutely gorgeous documentary that came out about him and his work. I'm not seeing the date, but it's not too long ago, a couple of years ago, called Rivers and Tides, which I have watched over and over. And I'm sure that you can find a place to stream it as well. It's fine with me if you and your family want to watch the whole video. I think that might be kind of great. But I am going to be giving you snippets from this and also from some lectures that Goldsworthy has given as they pertain to particular weeks' learning and experience. So I want to give you a sense then, this is the artist who has inspired me. And then the other thought I had this thought by the next evening was, wow, wouldn't it be great if we had, when we came back, an exhibit of all of each person presenting how they had responded to this opportunity. And since photography is such a large part of Goldsworthy's work, everybody will need, and I think since we have phones, most of us have a camera on our phone, but you can also use other cameras as well. But we'll need to document our artworks as they are made, perhaps, and then as they change. So here are some of the things Goldsworthy's work is known for in his work. I can't read backwards, which is on the screen, so I'll have to look this way. They're made in natural settings with natural materials. So he doesn't bring into the setting anything to make with. It's all from there. So he'll use like little thorns to connect things together. He'll use the water from a puddle to wet something down, wet a leaf down and put it on something else. Everything is from right in a natural setting. It may come from a field over. He might bring some stuff in, but it's all from the natural setting. And his work is responsive to those settings. He doesn't go in with an idea of this has to be, I'm going to put this here. Instead, he really gets to know the place, lets it suggest things to him. And, there are challenges that come up. A lot of people think that what makes good art is having no restrictions at all. And in fact, I believe that art and creativity spring from limitation and having to respond to limitation. So he has set kind of rules for himself, like the fact that he's going to have to figure out how to make what he wants to make with what is there. And I think that then spurs you to even even greater creativity. So, and this is a big one. He uses the term ephemeral for much of his artwork. And something that's ephemeral is going to pass. It's not going to end up in a museum and be there forever. It could last only a moment. It could last a week. It could last a season. But it is going to move along, and it's going to change over time. And those changes are fascinating and beautiful. And he documents those changes through his photography. So that sense of ephemeral art, this is not something that we're going to still have. Maybe even by the time we get back to school, we won't still have it. What we'll have is the pictures of it, the photographs of it. So it's documented through photography. The changes could be due to the weather, gravity, creature activity, time, evaporation, changes of the seasons, and so he documents those. So we'll, when we get a little further on, we might even talk a little bit about photography. He has some things he says about what are the good times to take photographs and paying attention to the light and if you're expecting rain and rain is part of your project, that's fabulous. Building those things in. But it's also important to notice that he uses the art elements that we talk about in our art classes, the things that people make art with. People make art with line, shape, texture, value, which is the range between light and dark, color. Those are the two-dimensional art elements. When you get to three-dimensional art, you add form and shape in the sense that you can move around the object and experience it in different ways from the different sides of it that we are on. And I would say in his art, there's a fourth dimension, which is the dimension of time. And so really fascinating artist. I want to share a few things with you just so that you can start knowing what his work is like. When I first discovered him as an artist, I checked out every book that he had made out of the public library so I could make a list of the order I wanted to buy them in. So this one was the first one. This is the most accessible. It has the variety of work that he has done. You see the arrangement of found rocks here that he broke and then scratched on to make this beautiful image. So you've got line, you've got value in the light and the dark. Don't have too much going on in terms of the colors, very neutral colors. And we have shape in the outlines of these rocks. They make a shape, and then we get this whole almost fern-like shape made from the arrangement of them. So texture, we have the fairly smooth rocks and the rough texture of the ground that they're on. So here's a couple of other ones I want to show you. Now there's color. I had the middle schoolers write me a paragraph from their walk outside, and they're looking at those different directions, and one of them mentioned that even though dandelions were weeds, the color of the dandelions made her happy. So I knew she would be simpatico with Andy Goldsworthy then. Here is line, very much line. Line doesn't have to be straight, and the quality of the line is very important to think about too. You can have a line with a very hard edge. You can have a line with a very rough edge, as these do. You can have a line that is a little wavy. You have a line that's straighter. That line that was on the front curves. So there's a line issues for you. And then here is the shape of a circle, taken in many different ways. Here, these are all made with leaf. Here they're made with rock and water. How the water changes the color of the rock. But throughout, what we have is the shape of a circle coming through. So shape being very important there. So we have line, we have texture, we have shape, we have color, and value the range of light and dark. Then this is an amazing one with line, the conglomeration of line. These are sticks woven together in a lake. So half is actually the reflection in the lake woven there. Now, if you watch the video, part of what's built into his work, part of what he loves about the work he does, is that it's not always successful. That he can start making something and right at that moment it might fall apart, and he just has to try it again. And that's a wonderful lesson as well, is he just is persistent and learns from each attempt to see what else could happen. This is another one of his books called Stone. And in Stone, oftentimes I love this one. Those are fall leaves set along the line of the top of the stone. So the stone can be the shape that is all around it. It can be the material that is being used. Sometimes he'll return to the same stone over and over again. This is the same stone in different seasons, with just using water, putting the leaves of the season on the stone. And here is, he'll often use mud or dirt, or in this case sand. So it had rained and the sand down here below was damp. And so he dug up that and he covered the outside of this tree. Takes some patience, but he also had to work quickly, because when it dries out, it's going to start to fall off. And that, look at it in the distance now once he's done that. See it? Absolutely beautiful. So that's looking around you to see what there is to work with and how you might use it. Several of the middle schoolers wrote about the dew that they saw on the plants in the morning. He works with dew as well. And rain. He'll often lay down when it's going to start to rain and wait and let his body block the rain and leave a rain print, or he'll go out way early in the morning and lay down before the dew point happens and leave behind a brief image of himself. So that's a taste. And then I have to show you one more book, Midsummer Snowballs. This is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. In the middle of winter, he makes huge snowballs for this project. Here's an image of him making the huge snowballs. And inside each snowball is different kind of stuff. So one snowball might have grains in it. One had sheep fur, wool inside it. One had big sticks, one had little sticks, one had pine cones, but they're huge. See that one being towed away? So he made them in the middle of winter. Then he stored them in a cold storage for half of the year. And then on midsummer night, he and his crew took them out and put them all around London, in different places. So in the morning, on a summer morning, people walked out to discover snowballs. And then as the day progressed, the snowballs started to melt. Here's the one with pine cones. As it melted, the pine cones start to emerge. And then through the day, there's the pile, and then there's the children interacting with them. So the things he's interested in the change are the things that might cause it to change are the weather can cause it to change, time passing, creatures, human creatures, other creatures. My very favorite one is this one with these big sticks. So here is the big snowman, and then it's starting to melt, and these kind of arms of thick limbs are being revealed. And then a child comes up, starts poking. Interesting. And then here comes a dog, and the dog steals one of the sticks, and there he is. It's his very own stick. I just love that part. And then as the day continues and things melt, the interstices between show, and into the nighttime until it ends up being just a pile of sticks. So that is Andy Goldsworthy. That is the artist who I think should inspire us to make some ephemeral, natural art in our immediate surroundings as we move through these next couple of weeks. So I sent everybody out for their first day just to step on your doorstep and look around, really start to feel the whole sensation of where you are, and to move out 10, 20 steps away from that and look again, feel again, and then go to the next nearest outdoor space that was not your home. And so everybody, I hope, has had a chance to do that. And if you haven't, please do it. It makes a huge difference because you're scouting. You're scouting and you're connecting with the space where your art will be and the materials that are available to make it with. So for between now and the next time we meet, which I don't think is next Friday, I might post something on Friday. Look even more intently now at that world outside your door and what you might have to work with to make some ephemeral art, some things that will be there and be beautiful in an artistic sense, and that you will photograph. And my imagining for our exhibit is like the science exhibit and the notables big boards, but with your key photographs arranged in the way you want them on that. So that would be our pinnacle. I want you to please not stress about this in any way. It is meant to bring us comfort, community, relationship with nature, and respite in some ways. Respite from our hard working day and our maybe a little alone time that is alone time in relationship with nature, even if your brother is 5 feet, 6 feet away doing the same thing. And then a community celebration when we return. So I got the big picture in my head. I've got some of the little details coming. And the first step was just to go out and connect. So I think not until after spring break will we actually start making things together, but you're welcome to start on your own if you want. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.